Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on the top 10 tips for how to be successful in History 113 and History 114. I'm the History 113-114 Learning Community Facilitator, Natalie Sweet, and I'll be leading today's webinar and every other webinar that you will watch this term for History 113 and 114. If you would please, when you have a chance, if you look over the little chat box over in the bottom right corner, you're going to see a link. If you would click on that and record your attendance, that helps us keep track of who attended and helps us to plan future webinars too. So before we begin, I wanted to start with a few housekeeping items. Each Wednesday during this term, I will lead these weekly webinars. You'll find direction on how to complete key assignments, milestones, and the final project. I know that everyone leads busy lives, so each Wednesday's webinar will be under 30 minutes in length. The live sessions may go over 30 minutes as I provide workshop opportunities after the main presentation, but you will always be able to access a quick recorded version of the presentation. You can watch those presentations within our learning community, which can be accessed within your class by going to the left-hand navigation column where you see things like announcements and learning modules and discussions. You'll see the tab called Learning Community. Click on that. That's immediately going to put you within our learning community. And it is easily accessible. You can access the learning community and these webinars via your home computer, but if you are on the go and you want to access a webinar, you can also access it via the Adobe Connect mobile app. It will appear within your app store as the icon that you see on this slide. Finally, if you're attending live, ask questions in the chat box that appear in the bottom right side of the Adobe Connect screen. If you're watching the recorded version, though, visit our learning community after the presentation and post your questions on our discussion feed. You'll receive quick answers from me and other students within the learning community. You may be wondering a little bit about me as your learning community facilitator as we move forward. Like many of you, I lead a busy life. I'm a mom with 2 boys who keep me busy. I'm also an instructor within the history program here at SNHU, and among other things, I have taught this class for many terms. As such, I'm a great resource for you as you move forward. I will never pass out a grade in our learning community because this is meant to be a place to help you with those questions that you may not feel comfortable asking within your History 113 or 114 class. I also provide quick answers to any type of questions that you may have, from due dates to assignment questions to questions about the eMaterials or the class content. So if you're looking for a quick answer, the learning community is a great place to come to and get quick answers. Personally, I'm also a national park fanatic who for 2016 made it my New Year's resolution to visit as many parks as possible in order to celebrate the Park Service's 100-year anniversary. I'm also a volunteer for my local museum, and I also serve on a board to a hospitality home called St. Agnes House. Finally, I'm also a tea lover. Nothing makes me happier than a great cup of tea and conversation, and almost every Wednesday night webinar, I'm going to have a cup of tea with me. So bring one with you too, or whatever your beverage of choice is, tea, water, Coke, whatever. And pull up a chair and we'll have good discussions. Now that you know about me, let me tell you a little bit about the learning community itself. When you access it through your class via the Learning Community tab in the left-hand navigation column, you'll be taken to an area that only SNHU students have access to. You will not find your instructor here, but you can interact with other SNHU students, SNHU Learning Community Facilitators, and SNHU advisors. The page may remind you a little bit of Facebook. You will see that you can post comments and questions on our page. You can also make connections with other students. Each day, I will provide you with just-in-time resources like calendars and assignment suggestions. As I've mentioned before, I will also hold weekly live webinars on each Wednesday of the week that will help you tackle major assignments. All of this will help you see the best results in History 113 or History 114. And now let's talk about my top 10 tips for seeing success in your class. First, Make the time to tackle assignments each week. Don't wait until the Sunday that assignments are due. This can cause you to become overwhelmed with the workload. Make a schedule to tackle your assignments for at least 5 minutes every day. To help you with this, I provide a suggested calendar every Monday within the learning community to help you tackle the week's assignments. Of course, on some days, you're going to need to put in more than 5 minutes, but doing just 5 minutes a day can really help you avoid being swamped on Sunday when your final hard deadlines are present. For my second tip, make connections in the History 113, History 114 learning community. There are students there who have taken this class before and who can provide you with helpful tips. There are also students there who are taking the class presently and who can share their own experiences. Remember, this is a safe space to share your questions and your thoughts. For my third tip, access your learning resource source early. On your class page, you will find information on how to purchase your eMaterials and activate your Sumo passkey. You will need your eMaterials to complete all of your class assignments. In fact, your final project, and I know it seems early to be talking about that now, but you'll actually begin working on that final project within the first week of class. That final project has to be completed within the eMaterials. We're going to talk about this more in a moment, but for now, focus on purchasing those eMaterials, exploring them in order to feel comfortable, and when you have questions, come to our learning community, post any questions you might have about navigation or using the eMaterials to our board. We'll be able to provide you with quick answers. For my fourth tip, make certain that you always have a backup plan in place in case something happens during the week that might interfere with you making deadlines. When you can, tackle assignments early in the week in case something pops up in the later part of the week. If your computer or internet goes on the fritz, think about other locations where you can gain access. Public libraries can be great places to access computers and the internet, and keep family and friends in mind too. My fifth tip is actually one of my favorites. Keep a to-do list during the week. Many years ago, when I was overwhelmed with classwork and work commitments in graduate school, a wise professor suggested to me that I keep a list of all the things that I wanted to accomplish during the day in a special date book. She told me that I should list my big goals like class assignments, research papers, and book reviews. But she also told me that I should list small things too, like read 5 pages or eat lunch. Then, as I completed tasks, she told me to put a check mark beside those items. Seeing my list be checked off over time helped with my anxiety, and it also helped to keep me on track. Adding easy to achieve tasks with harder to achieve tasks also helped me to face the tasks ahead of me and made it more manageable. And two, here's another tip. At SNHU, we do know that sometimes things come up. People get sick, babies are born. We hope it doesn't, but sometimes car accidents happen. When serious things like this pop up, do be in communication with your advisors and instructors. Letting them know what's going on means that they can help you navigate the rough patches. The same is true if you're having problems with the material, if you're not making connections, if you don't understand it. Ask questions. Your instructors look forward to hearing from you. It's how they help you. They will not be able to help you if you don't let them know what you're not understanding. And keep in mind, there are no bad questions at all. We would far rather you ask those questions than keep them to yourselves. If you knew the answers to everything, you wouldn't have to be in the class. So think about it that way. For my seventh tip, this is where the learning community comes in to be very handy. Make a study buddy. Study buddies can be great for success and support. In past terms, we've seen History 113 and 114 students pair up to provide support throughout the term, to hold each other accountable for due dates, to bounce ideas off of and to read drafts of one another's paper. In last term, in fact, we even had one History 113 student pair with one History 114 student. And that way, when they read through each other's papers, it was really easy for them to pick out portions of the papers where maybe the other student hadn't made strong connections in their ideas, because since that student was learning about the material, they then could tell that other student, maybe what wasn't immediately coming to mind that they needed to add into your paper. And you can make a study buddy on our Learning Community page. You can simply post that, hey, I'm looking for a study buddy, anyone interested? And then you two can work together throughout the term to really provide that added support for one another. That study buddy can actually be a part of your success team, which brings us to point 8. Who is on your success team? Your instructor is there. They are committed to seeing you succeed in this class. So is your advisor. You're going to hear from them regularly. If you begin to slip, you'll likely get an email from your instructor saying, hey, is everything okay? But beyond them too, think closer to home. Your friends, your family, they want to see you succeed too. So let them know what's going on. Share when you have successes, when you have concerns, or maybe you want to let them read through drafts of your work. Turn to them. They're going to be able to give you that support that you need. They'll help you push through this class. For tip number 9, we're almost there to our top 10, and these two that are coming up are really important to your academic success in this class. Number 9, use your feedback. Your instructor is going to provide feedback to you in a number of ways. Each assignment that you submit will be graded, and this is particularly true. You need to be paying attention to your instructor's feedback, especially on what we call milestone assignments. At the end of the term, as I've mentioned, you will be submitting a final project. There are 3 big components to the final project paper that you will write at the end of the term. These are called milestone 1, milestone 2, and milestone 3. The final project paper is going to be based around a question that you receive about a historical topic. Your instructor will provide you with resources to complete this paper, but that research question is going to be there to guide you through the paper process. In milestone 1, you're going to describe the event that you're writing about, and you're also going to develop your thesis statement, which will be the central argument of your paper. In milestone 2, you're going to talk about trends and look at the historical setting. What's going on in the world in which this event is taking place in. And for milestone 3, you're going to work on evidence to support your thesis statement. On each of those milestones, your instructor is going to provide you with specific feedback on every element of your submission. Why is this important? Why is this key? Well, first of all, it's always good to look at feedback on any assignment because it's going to help you grow stronger as a scholar. But it's really important in History 113 and 114 because eventually those milestones are going to come together and will be pretty much cut and pasted into your final project. So by the time you get through those 3 milestones, the only thing you're going to have left right at the end of term will actually be the introduction of your paper and the conclusion of your paper. This means if you are paying attention to your instructor's feedback as you work on these milestone assignments, you are going to have already let them see an early draft of your work. So when you come to that big final project, which is worth almost a quarter of your total grade, you'll have had feedback from them on the most important parts of this final project, which means you can be in really good shape if you're carefully paying attention and then contacting your instructor if you have questions about their feedback so that you can implement that into your final project as best as possible. And finally, talking about the final project, and this is something I really want you to keep in mind as you move forward in your History 113 and 114 class, tackle the final project within the eMaterials. Now, if you have taken other courses at SNHU, you may have been used to writing papers not within a template. You may have made an outline or worked on different portions of the paper. In History 113 and 114, this is structured. You are going to work on elements of your paper within the eMaterials, because within the eMaterials, in your first few weeks, you're going to see there's questions that are going to help you explore the sources that you will use to write your final project. And these are low-stake assignments, so don't be intimidated by them. Do your best, but think of it as helping you build towards the final project. Within those templates, you will write your thesis statement, you will write an event description, you will go on eventually and write about the world in which this event is taking place. And then in later chapters within your eMaterials, you will actually find sections where you will work on your paragraphs that will act as the evidence for your paper. So don't be working on your final project outside of the eMaterials. What you will do is you will work on that paper within your eMaterials, and every time after you come to a big milestone point in chapter 2, 4, and 6, you're going to have the opportunity to download your paper in progress. And that's when you can pull that document to work on it outside of the eMaterials, maybe to submit it to your instructor in the weekly submission portals for those milestone weeks. So those are my top 10 tips for being successful in History 113 and History 114. As I promised, I will be doing webinars every week this term. Now, what I just presented to you, it may seem like a lot of information to take in, but I'm going to keep breaking this information down as we go week by week. You will find webinars that are specially crafted around each week's assignments. So for week 1, we will actually be talking about putting together the perfect discussion board post. In week 2, we'll talk about how you complete milestone 2 and what you need to be thinking about as you complete that milestone. And that's also going to help you understand how that milestone fits as a part of your final project. So stay tuned for future webinars. And I thank you for watching this video. If you would, visit our learning community after you watch this video and share the most important thing you learned today. You can post questions, any questions you have about the material that was presented here, or what other things you might find in your History 113 and 114 class. So post those in the learning community. I highly recommend that you post any question that you have to the learning community, because if you have a question about material, it's likely that another student does too. But if you do have a question that is of a personal nature that you would just rather privately email, you can contact me at n.sweet@snhu.edu. I look forward to seeing you in our learning community, and I hope that you have a great day.